hold button. This is Rainy Night Drive Radio. Tonight's topic, Reptilians. We're going to cover some reptilians that have been spotted throughout the years. Various different kinds. And maybe some other content that doesn't stretch out. That's how it's going. But first, some strange news. So in strange space news this week, from space.com by Robert Lee, published 4 hours ago as of this date, Rohan was first. Beacons were lit. Scientists named merging supermassive black holes after Lord of the Rings locations. Rohan was first, or Rohan Sivakumar, a Yale student who was first analyzing it. Gondor was next because, well, the beacons were lit. Okay, that, I don't know, I just can't figure out that grammar. It doesn't make sense. When the beacons were lit in the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, the city of Gondor called to Rohan for aid, spelling doom for Sauron and his legions. However, when the beacons were supermassive black hole systems aimed for these locations in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings novels were lit up, it was exceptionally good news for scientists. The supermassive black hole binary Gondor, officially designated SDSS, and a bunch of gibberish, and another one, Rohan gibberish. Alright, I'll try it out. SDSS J1536 plus symbol 0411. There, yep. Were discovered by the North American Nanohertz Observatory for Gravitational Waves. Nanograv. Using a new technique that uses the background hum of ripples in space called gravitational waves, in conjunction with observations of quasars, which are powered by fading supermassive black holes. The logic behind this is that supermassive black hole binaries, which spiral together to lead to collisions and mergers, emit gravitational waves of increasing frequency as their orbits shrink, creating a black background hum of gravitational waves. The result, mergers seem to be 5 times more likely to be found in quasars. That makes quasars beacons that can indicate the unification of supermassive black holes. If one of these beacons radiates gravitational waves like the lit beacons of Gondor that indicate binary black holes are present. Thus, this detection technique offers scientists a method to create a cosmic map of these merging titans. Quote, our finding provides the scientific community with the first concrete benchmarks for developing and testing detection protocols for individual continuous gravitational wave sources. Nanograv team member Chayara Mingarelli said in a statement. Mingarelli and colleagues hunted for supermassive black hole binaries using their new approach in 114 active galactic nebulae, NUCLE. I'm learning a bunch of good words tonight, guys. And bright central regions of galaxies where supermassive black holes are rapidly feasting on surrounding gas and dust. So it took two merging black holes that are colliding together and naming the beacons of Gondola. Is that right? Did I understand that right? I guess. I don't know. The grammar in this just screws with my dyslexia or something. I'm having a hard time comprehending it. But as far as I can understand it, that's what they're talking about. And that's the best I can find in strange space news. And in strange world news, serial underwear thief at New Zealand school identified as cat. February 12th, a serial thief who has been stealing items including towels, shoes, and underwear from a New Zealand school for over a year, was finally caught on camera and identified as a literal cat burglar. Marana Stewart, principal of a Apanui School of... Yeah, I can look at that one. Said items had been mysteriously disappearing from the school for over a year, particularly during the season, while the pool was in use. Initially, we noticed single shoes and goggles and undies and towels left along the footpath into the school. The school posted a video to Facebook when the thief was finally caught on security camera. The footage shows a black cat dragging a large towel across the playground. When a pair of Togs swimming trunks and a towel went missing, my office lady checked the cameras for our offender, and he was witnessed, and a large stash was found at the back of the pea shed, Stewart said. She said that the school's groundskeeper made contact with the cat's owner who confirmed their pet was a notorious thief. Can we say his owner wishes that he remains anonymous? We're calling him Salinki Malinkai, Stewart said. She said the thefts are a learning opportunity. I think we're going to have a lot of fun writing stories about our own school's Slinky Malinkai's, she said, and it might help our kids to remember to put their things in their bag. Well, there you go. Cats are dirty things. Been warning y'all for years. Don't trust them. They'll steal your stuff. And lastly, for strange news in America, Ring ends partnership with Flock Safety amid surveillance concerns. February 13th. Amazon-owned Ring announced it is ending its partnership with Flock Safety, a company whose artificial intelligence-powered technology came into question after a Ring Super Bowl ad touting new surveillance features. In a blog post published Thursday, Ring said that two companies made the joint decision to cancel the planned integration. They initially announced it in October. Following a comprehensive review, we determined the planned block safety integration would require significantly more time and resources than anticipated. Ring's surveillance camera capabilities came under fire Sunday after the company aired a 30-second commercial highlighting its new search party feature. The feature allows users to upload images of their missing pets It'll ring neighbor's app, which would then use AI to troll footage in the cloud to find the missing pet. And if the missing pet is spotted in the footage, the information would be sent to the owner of the camera that picked up the footage and give them the option to notify the missing pet's owners. Ring said the search party feature is automatically enabled on all outdoor cameras enrolled in a Ring subscription. But critics questioned whether the AI technology could be combined with Ring's new facial recognition technology, familiar faces, to provide law enforcement surveillance on humans. Of additional concern, block safety technology allows customers to grant local and federal government agencies access to the data picked up by the cameras. Among the organizations that could have access to this data are Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Secret Service, and the U.S. Navy. Senator Ron Wyden, and Representative Raja Krishna, forget it, big long word, I don't know, in November called on the Federal Trade Commission to investigate block security for allowing government access to the data without meaningful privacy protections. At the urging of concerned constituents, that one good. I conducted further oversight and have determined that Block cannot live up to its commitment to protect the privacy and security of Oregonians. What the hell is that? Wyden wrote in a letter to the FTC, abuse of Block cameras are inevitable, and Block has made it clear it takes no responsibility to prevent or detect that. So I've heard of this story a couple of days ago. It's actually very concerning. They want to use your Ring doorbell cameras to find possible missing pets roaming your neighborhood. It could easily be a gateway for Big Brother surveillance. And a lot of people are upset about that. So I'll let you make it your mind. And that'll do it for strange news this week. Get on with it. First reptilian of the night is the lizard man of Skate or Swamp, also known as the lizard man of Lee County. Now, I've heard of this one. This is interesting. Said to inhabit the swampland of Bishopville, South Carolina. First sighted in the late 1980s. The purported sightings and damage attributed to the creature yielded a significant amount of newspaper, radio, and television publicity. Many theories have been presented in relation to the identity of the lizard man. Theories such as living dinosaurs, and even offshoots of evolution in which the reptilian hierarchy continued to evolve along the same path as early primates. At one point in time, reptiles ruled the Earth. It's not out of the realm of possibility that most dominant species on a planet could continue to evolve in small numbers unseen by mankind. Although no reptilian species known to man have shown signs of such advanced evolution, the reptiles are the oldest and most successful group of species on the planet and could hold secrets that have yet to come to light. In Lee County, South Carolina, a strange reptilian humanoid was reported on several occasions. The Creek Indian legend. The Creek were a Native American confederacy, the largest division of the Muskogean family, primarily in Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. They received their name from the English on account of the numerous streams in the country. According to myths and tales of the Southeastern Indians by John Reed Swanton in 1929, the Creek encountered a human-sized lizard monster in the area. Several Indians were out together and formed a hunting team. A hunter came back one evening and said, "I have found a big bare tree." He told the rest of the hunters, and they said to one another, "Tomorrow morning we will set out, build a fire there, and smoke the she-bear out so that we can see him." They slept, and the next day started off and came to the place. When they got to where the big tree stood, it looked as if something lived there. And they said that to one another, "A bear surely lives here." So they started a fire under it. The smoke filled up the hollow inside, and soon a big lizard came out. The people saw it and ran away. The big lizard jumped down and gave chase. It ran along until it caught one of them and came back with it. It came with him to the big tree and threw him down into it. Then it chased another and did the same to each in turn. Overtook, caught, and brought him back. Only one was left. It chased him, and after it had gone a long distance, overtook him and brought him back. When it was coming through a place where the trees were thick, a tiger or panther was lying asleep. When the big lizard got there with the man, the panther awoke and jumped onto it. The lizard let the man go and jumped upon the panther in turn, and they began to fight. The man saw this, jumped up and ran away. Of the people who had gone far away from their homes to hunt, only one came back. He told his people how big the lizard had. He told his people how the big lizard had killed all the hunters. Lizard man on skateboard swarm. The first modern reported sighting of the creature was made by George Holloman Jr. in the fall of '87. But it was the report by Christopher Davis, a 17-year-old local man, that made the lizard man famous. David said he encountered the creature while driving home from work at 2 a.m. on June 29, 1988. According to his account, Davis stopped on a road bordering Skateboard Swamp in order to change a tire which had blown out. When he was finishing up, he reported having heard a thumping noise from behind him, having turned around to see the creature running towards him. Davis said the creature tried to grab him at the car and then jumped onto his roof as he tried to escape. Clinging onto it as Davis swerved from side to side in an effort to throw it rear-view mirror was found to be badly damaged. Scratch marks were found on the car's roof, though there was no other physical evidence of this encounter. I looked back and saw something running across the field towards me, he said. It was about 25 yards away, and I saw red eyes glowing. I ran into the car, and as I locked it, the thing grabbed the door handle. I could see him from neck down, with great big fingers, long black nails, and green rough skin. It was strong and angry. I looked in my mirror and saw a blur of green running. I could see his toes, and then he jumped on the roof of my car. I thought I heard a grunt, and I could see his fingers through the front windshield, where they curled around on the roof. I sped up and swerved to shake the creature off. In the month that followed the Davis sighting, there were several further reports of a lizard-like creature and of unusual scratches and bite marks found on cars parked close to the swamp. Most of these are said to have occurred within a 3-mile radius of the swamps of Bishop Dale. At the time, local law enforcement officials reacted to the reports of the lizard man with a mixture of concern and skepticism, stating that a sufficient number of sightings had been made by apparently reliable people for them to believe that something tangible was being seen, but also that it was more likely to be a bear other than a lizard. 2 weeks after the Davis sighting, the sheriff's department made several plaster casts of what appeared to be a 3-toed footprint, measuring some 14 inches in length, but decided against sending them to the FBI for further analysis after biologists advised them that they were unclassifiable. According to South Carolina Marine Researchers Department spokesperson John Hughes, the tracks neither match nor could be mistaken for the footprints of any recorded animal. Hughes also dismissed the possibility that they could have been made by some form of mutated creature. The sightings attracted tourists interested in seeing the creature and hunters interested in tracking it. And nearby radio stations, WCOS offered a $1 million reward to anybody who could capture the creature alive. However, reports of the creature began to decline at the end of the summer, with the last credible sighting of the year being reported in July. On August 5th, Kenneth Orr, airman stationed at Shaw Air Force Base, filed a report with the police saying that he had encountered the lizard man on Highway 15 and that he had shot and wounded it. He presented several scales and a small quantity of blood as evidence. Orr recanted this account 2 days later when he was arraigned for unlawfully carrying a pistol and a misdemeanor of offense of filing a false police report. According to Orr, he had invented the sighting in order to keep the stories of the lizard man in circulation. According to the book, the lizard man was described as having green scaly skin with either red or orange eyes and 3-fingered webbed hands. He stood about 7 feet tall and his height of about 4 inches. Clayton Hook was the guy who created that. Okay, why is there a random name here between these paragraphs? What does that mean? Never mind. The lizard man escaped the forest swamp, said to inhabit areas of swamp in County, South Carolina, along with the sewers and towns near the swamp. So we got sewers, probably storm drains when they're into town. This thing could be hiding over there. Yes. Alright, our next reptilian is the Gator Man. Not much is known about the elusive New Jersey Gator Man. We do know that during the summer of '73, the residents of New Jersey's Newton Lafayette area, don't ask me how I just pronounce the French word, I just do, in Lafayette area are plagued by what eyewitnesses described as a large humanoid alligator. A local journalist who covered the story compared the creature to an enduring Native American legend about a giant, man-sized fish that could never be caught. Perhaps what makes the New Jersey Gator Man stand out the most amongst the other lizard men is the fact that its existence was publicly acknowledged by a state employee. Young men from the tribe Kanigara in Papua New Guinea make crocodile armor in the body by a ritual where they get scars that look like a crocodile's armor. I see what that looks like. It's actually really crazy. However, this is probably just a coincidence. A statement came in '77 when New York City conservation naturalist Alfred Hallstruck reported that the state's southern pier was the apparent home of a scaled man-like creature which appears at dusk from the red algae-infested waters forage among the fern and moss-covered uplands. Although this is the only official comment in relation to the New Jersey Gator Man, the simple fact that a city officially publicly acknowledged the creature's existence says something to its credibility. No physical evidence of the New Jersey Gator Man has ever been brought to light. However, eyewitnesses report in a public acknowledgement from the city official vote for the existence of this creature. During the summer of '73, multiple people saw a humanoid alligator. Yeah, I don't know why the word whale is that doesn't make sense. City official vote for the existence of this creature. The Gator Man could have been an unknown species of large alligator, or perhaps an evolved crocodilian such as Gundus or whatever. Another name I cannot pronounce. It could also be a sighting of a serpent. No explanation of that. Alright, moving on to the next one. Alright, our next cryptid is the Loveland Frogman. The Loveland Frogman, also known as the Loveland Illusions, are a cryptid who derive their fame from the area they inhabit, near Loveland, Ohio. The creatures themselves have been sighted in Claremont County. The Loveland Frogman has had 4 sightings, one in '55, 2 sightings in '72, and 1 in 16. The 2016 sighting has a video evidence associated with it, but it is likely a hoax due to its location in a city. Loveland frogmen are reportedly bipedal frogs. This would make them the only species of frogs that are bipedal. The Loveland frogmen are bipedal frogs as made evident due to their leathery skin as well as their webbed hands and feet. The creatures have frog-like heads and with wrinkly skin and creatures have frog-like heads with wrinkly skin on top of them. They are around 1 meter tall. So about 3 feet tall. The The Loveland frog is also known to live in Clermont County, Ohio. The creature lives in temperate forests and is able to survive the cold winters of the region without having to hibernate. The frogmen apparently have the physical ability to use sticks like tools. However, they also have an ability as they can use these sticks to emit sparks like a wand. This could mean that the frogs have an ability to control electricity in some way. These amphibious anomalies have shocked and terrified businessmen, farmers, and police officers, and remain one of the most intriguing cryptological mysteries in the United States. One of the most intriguing cases encountered is that of the Loveland frogmen or Loveland lizards. The story of these unique creatures begins in May of 1955 on a lonely stretch of road that runs along the Miami River in Clermont County, just on the outskirts of a small town known as Loveland, Ohio. At approximately 3:30 a.m., a businessman named Robert Honeycutt claimed to have witnessed 3 bipedal quasi-reptilian entities congregating by the side of the road. The man pulled his car to the curb and observed these creatures for what he estimated to be about 3 minutes. During this time, he noticed these strange beings stood about 3 to 4 feet tall, were covered with gray leather skin, and had webbed hands and feet. The most distinguishing characteristic however, was their distinctly frog-like heads, which the man claimed the 4 deep wrinkles where their hair should have been. Just as the man was about to steal away, one of the creatures suddenly held what the witness could only describe as a wand above his head. An anonymous source further claimed that sparks spewed out of the end of this device. He was left close to peace. And there's a little drawing here of what he described. It looks like one of the men was holding the wand with both hands on both ends. The drawing shows sparks coming out of the body. He was holding it horizontally with both hands, according to the sketch. This begins the bizarre legend of the Loveland frogmen. This tale would be fascinating enough if it even there, but the 2 most significant encounters of this case, and maybe 2 of the most significant encounters in the annals of cryptozoology, were yet to come. At about 1 a.m. on March 3rd, 1972, nearly 17 years after the first report, a police officer, who understandably chose to remain anonymous, was traveling along Riverside Road heading towards Loveland when he saw something that would forever change his life. The officer claimed that he was driving slowly due to the substantial amount of ice on the road when he saw what looked like a dog that had occurred. Suddenly, the animal darted in front of the cruiser, forcing him to slam on the brakes in order to avoid a potential collision with the creature. Once the cruiser came to a halt, its headlights fell upon the prone animal. At this point, the officer described something that seemed literally too bizarre to be true. In the span of seconds, this crouched, frog-like creature stood on 2 legs, stared back at the policeman, and scrambled over the guardrail and scurried down the embankment, finally disappearing into the Ohio River. The officer in question described the creature as being 3 to 4 feet tall, weighing in the area of 50 to 75 pounds. He also claimed that its skin had a leathery texture and that the animal's features resembled those of a frog or a lizard. Another officer investigated the scene later that evening. He saw no sign of the creature, but reported that there were distinct scratch marks on the guardrail where the animal purported to cross. second sighting occurred 2 weeks later when police officer Mark Matthews had an encounter of his own. According to the report, Officer Matthews, while driving into the lowland, spotted what he believed to be an injured animal laying on the pavement. Matthews climbed out of his cruiser with the intention of removing the carcass from the already ice-slick road when the creature abruptly lurched upwards into a crouched position. Taken aback by the Frogman's reptilian visage, Matthews unholstered his revolver and took a shot at the creature, which then proceeded to hobble over the side of the road and sniff over the guardrail, all the while keeping a watchful eye on the trigger-happy officer. Matthews' Frogman matched the first officer's description down to the last detail, with the exception of a tail, which was absent from the corpse. In the years which have followed these events, Officer Matthews has reenacted what someone on his tail. I have never seen that word before. Redneck. I have no idea how to say that. He now claims that the animal in question was nothing more than a large reptile which escaped from his storm. Further insists that the only reason he shot at the creature was to help confirm a fellow officer's story. A story which was, of course, met with ridiculous skepticism by their superiors. Whether or not Matthew's change of heart was inspired by ridicule or the fading memory of an event from which was 30 years removed, the fact that his own testimony encounter indicates his later redaction. In a 2001 email interview, Officer Mark Matthews, now retired, explained that the incident was habitually blown out of proportion. He stated that it is no monster. It was not leathery or had wet fur. It was not 3 to 5 feet tall. It did not stand erect. The animal I saw was obviously some kind of lizard that someone had as a pet that either got too large or supernally escaped by accident, or they simply got tired of it. It was less than 3 feet in length, ran across the road and was probably blinded by my headlights. It presented no aggressive action. Matthews attempted to shoot the creature in order to back up the account of his partner sighting a few nights prior, but the lizard escaped, most likely to die from its injury or from the bitter freezing cold. A frogman was spotted in mid-August 2016 by Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend while they were playing Pokemon Go in Cincinnati. The location of the sighting cast doubt on this authenticity. Alright, let's move on to the Saurians of the page about them here. The Saurians are a race of bipedal reptilian humanoids that evolved from dinosaurs. While they are descendants of dinosaurs, they have traits similar to modern-day reptiles as well. They have scaly skin, tail, and reptilian eyes, nose, claws, and feet. Because they are bipedal humanoids, they walk on 2 legs instead of 4, like other reptiles, and have 2 arms just like humans. Saurians also have a sticky, long tongue, similar to some lizards and amphibians, which is used to catch prey or grab hold of something. While saurians are believed to be descendants of dinosaurs that have traits similar to modern-day reptiles, they are also believed to be aliens or creatures from another planet. I'll make up your mind. Which is it? Dinosaurs or aliens? While having traits similar to modern-day reptiles, saurians also have the ability to climb walls and surfaces that humans cannot climb. Saurians have had sightings during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and thousands from several places across the world. There have been reports that some people have gotten video recordings and photographs of the existence of the Syrians. Some people even claim to have found tools and weapons used by Syrians, claiming this as proof of their existence. Sightings have come from many locations across the world, and the earliest sightings go back as far as the 70s. People have cited Syrians have described them as being as tall as humans with 2 legs, 2 feet, 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 eyes, a tail with scaly skin. While they are described as descendants of dinosaurs, they have also been UFO sightings in locations where people have seen Syrians, which leads to the belief that they are aliens from another world. While UFOs have been spotted in the areas where Syrians have appeared, people also claim to have seen Syrians using tools and weapons similar to those of humans, showing that they are an evolved, intelligent species. Aside from using tools, weapons, and UFOs, there have also been reports of Syrians wearing clothes. Despite this claim, there have also been reports of some Syrians not wearing any outfits at all. Because of these claims, it is possible that some Syrians wear clothes just like humans, while others probably do not. And that's about it for that one. Okay. Alright, how many of you have heard of the Kappa? The Kappa, or River Child, alternatively called River Boy, or River Child. Yeah, okay, I'll try it. Kawataro, River Boy. Kawako, River Child. Are legendary creatures found in Japanese folklore. In Shinto, they are considered to be one of many Sujin. A hair-covered variation of the Kappa is called a Ayosui. Kappa are similar to Finnish, Scandinavian, Germanic, and Czech, Scottish, Kelpie, and Japanese Bogan, in that they all have been used to scare children of dangers of lurking near waters. Kappas are typically depicted as roughly humanoid in form and about the size of a child. Their scaly reptilian skin ranges in color from green to yellow or even blue. Despite their reptilian features, Kappa are said to have ape-like faces and scraggly green hair. Kappas totally inhabit the ponds and rivers of Japan and have various features to aid them in this environment, such as webbed hands and feet. They are sometimes said to smell like fish. They can certainly swim like them. The expression Kappa no Kawa Nagara, a Kappa drowning in a river, conveys the idea that even experts make mistakes. The most notable feature is an indentation on the top of their head that holds water called a Sara. This is regarded as the source of their power. This cavity must be full whenever the Kappa is away from water. If it spills, the Kappa will be unable to move. Although they are reported to inhabit all of Japan, they are often said to be particularly associated with the saga Cryptids. Japanese folklore states that the Kappa can be very polite and can be disabled before it attacks by bowing. And so you trigger them to bowing as a greeting. You go, hey Kappa, and you bow, and then it'll bow back and spills water. Okay. The Kappa would bow back and spill the water, disabling itself. Kappa are usually seen as mischievous troublemakers. Pranks range from I need to clear my throat. Japanese folklore states that the kappa can be very polite and can be stable before it attacks much of ordinary Stevie's troublemakers. Their pranks range from the relatively innocent, such as loudly passing cats or licking up a woman's kimono, to the male violence. I want to say male violence for some reason. Malevolent. It's good. I'm not going to fight for it. Not tonight. Such as drowning people and animals or kidnapping children. Malevolent. That's how it's spelled. Malevolent. I don't know how do I say that. I don't know. When kappas attack people, they often pull the person's intestines out during their... They often pull the person's intestines out through their anus in order to get into a mythical organ called the shirikadoma, which is said to contain a human soul. The Japanese are freaking weird. I've been saying it for years. The Japanese are just weird. They are also said to love cucumbers. And people can sometimes escape from an aggressive kappa by throwing a cucumber in its direction and run away while it eats the cucumber. If it is necessary to bathe in the water a kappa lives in, it is possible to throw a cucumber into the water before entering, after which the kappa will allow you to use his water without attacking you. If somebody beats a kappa, it may surrender, after which it will help with farming or sharing medical knowledge. It is also possible to befriend a kappa by bringing in cucumbers, which will also cause it to help in those ways. The technique of bone setting was thought to have been originally taught to humans by a friendly kappa. Kappas also frequently challenge humans to sumo wrestling. Really? They're the size of a child. Sumo wrestling, which they are almost guaranteed to win at, unless the human gets them to spill the water into their head, after which the kappa is forced to retreat. There's also a type of sushi that contains cucumbers named after it, the kappa maki. I'm sorry, you lost me on sumo wrestling. Alright, move on to the last cryptid of the night. The Thetis Lake Monster. The Thetis Lake Monster, or Canadian Lizard Man, is a cryptid that was sighted twice on Vancouver Island, Canada. The creature was first encountered by two teenage boys in 1972, and the Canadian Mounted Police sprung up an investigation. The monster was described as being an aquatic reptilian humanoid, standing 5 feet tall and resembled a human lizard with a large head that was covered with barbed spikes. 4 days later, 2 men reported the same creature in the lake, swimming, and stated that the lizard man was covered in silvery scales. A week later, a man reported that his pet tegu was missing. Tegus are a species of lizard native to Central and South America, famously compared to dogs by those in the reptile community due to their timid ability and enjoyment of playing fetch and willingness to come when called. The typical size of an Argentine tegu, the most common pet tegu, is 5 feet long, snout to tail. Other tegus max out at around 40 feet. The police closed the investigation, stating that the lizard man was the missing tegu. However, many locals still believe that Thetis Lake lizard man is still alive in the lake. Thetis Lake was the first regional conservation area in Canada. It was established in 1958. It spans approximately 131 hectares. I want to say hectares for some reason. That's hectares. protected forest and parkland. Approximately 20 minutes from Victoria and located next to the old island highway and a regional trail. It is a popular spot for hiking, swimming, and fishing and boating. However, on August 22nd, 1972, the Victoria Daily Times reported that two local teens claimed to have been chased from the beach at Bettis Lake by a creature which roughly resembled Gilman from the creature from the Black Lagoon film. One of the teenagers claimed to have been slashed on the hand by the creature, which displayed 3 webbed toes and fingers along the barbed fins on his skull, arms, and legs, prompting an investigation by the local Canadian Mounted Police. It was described to be roughly triangular in shape, about 5 feet tall and 5 feet across the base. At the time, the officer stated that the boy seemed sincere, and until we determine otherwise, we have no alternative but to continue our investigation. 4 days after the story was reported, the 2 men claimed to have spotted the creature on the opposite side of the lake from its first appearance. According to one, it came out of the water and looked around. Then it went back into the water. Then we ran. The boys described the creature as shaped like an ordinary body, like a human body, but it had a monster face. It was scaly with a point sticking out of its head, great big ears. They believed the creature had a human-like face, although it appeared to have scaly and silvery blue-colored skin. Unfortunately, 2 of the 4 eyewitnesses came forward and claimed the sightings were hoaxes to get attention. Whether this is true of the remaining 2 eyewitnesses remains in question. Similar creatures have been reported from places such as Ohio, Delaware, Louisiana, and North Carolina for at least the last century. They are said to be related to another zoological creature, Chupacabra. Lake monsters like this one are said to exist all over the world. Ada mythology from the Queen Charlotte Islands described a similar creature with human-like face, 2 tails, and often wears a hat. This creature is often feared by Ada communis. People go into this. Possible explanations. If this species really exists, it was also certainly a species of large semi-aquatic reptile, a large fish species with prominent fins and scales. And that's it. Alright, I still need to round out a solid one out here. So I found one about the Naga. The Naga is a Sanskrit and Pali word for a deity or class of entity or being taking the form of a very great snake, specifically the king cobra, found in Hinduism and Buddhism. The use of the term Naga is often ambiguous. Is it Naga? As the word may also refer in similar context to one of several human tribes known as or nicknamed Nagas, to elephants and to ordinary snakes, particularly the king cobra and the Indian cobra, the latter of which is still called Nag in Hindi and other languages of India. The female Naga is a Nagini. I hope I'm saying that word right. In the great epic Mahabharata, the description of Nagas tends to be negative. They are portrayed as such. The epic calls them persecutors of all creatures and tells us the snakes were of growth virulent poison, great prowess, and excess of strength. So the snakes were a virulent poison, greatness of great prowess, and excess of strength. That is all weird grammar. And never bent on biting other creatures. So they were super poisonous, really strong, and were just raging and biting everything. Book something, section 20. At the, I don't know, Adi Parva, section 20. At the same time, Nagas are important players in many of the events narrated in the epic. Frequently, no more evil nor deceitful than other protagonists, and sometimes on the side of good. The epic frequently characterizes Nagas as having a mixture of human and serpent-like traits. Sometimes it characterizes them as having human traits at one time, and having serpent-like traits at another time. For example, the story of how a Naga princess came to hold the world on his head begins with a scene in which he appears as a dedicated human, ascetic, with knotted hair, clad in rags, and his flesh, skin, and sinews dried up. Brahma is pleased with Sesha and trusts him with the duty of carrying the world. And at that point in the story, Sasha begins to exhibit the attributes of a serpent. He enters into a hole in the earth and slithers all the way to the bottom, where he then loads the earth onto his head. Okay. The Baya Naga. Got it bad right in the freaking text. What the hell? It's right over the text. Hold on. Alright, I fixed it. Baya Naga. Many people, particularly in Isan, northeastern region of Thailand, believe that the Naga are responsible for unnatural wave phenomena occurring in the rivers or lakes in the vicinity. It is also frequently claimed that the serpent-like demigods are responsible for marks on common objects such as car hoods or house walls. The Lake Chini Naga. In Pahang folklore, Siri Gunman is a legendary giant serpent called Naga and commonly described as taking the form of an Asian dragon that inhabits the Chini Lake in Pahang, Malaysia. There have been a variety of legends associated with the creature in the oral literature. The notable one is related to the origin myth of the lake itself, while another legend narrates about a love story between two females, Sir Gunman and a male Naga called Suri Cambodia. That leads to the origin story myth of Toy Island. Good. So there's multiple areas around the world that mention and name things of Nagas or Nagas. That is weird. That is really strange. And that will do it for tonight's episode. I want to thank you all for listening. Once I'm done uploading this to it's going to take all night. So, give it a like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think of the show down in the comments. And as always, remember, drive safe out.